Welcome, YouTube. A crazy, humid, thick, soupy day in South Louisiana. And so we are on part 2 of our series, Jumping Off the Cliff in Your 40s. And part 1, we talked about just putting a date out there and how to objectively put things on the calendar and so you really know what your deliverable needs to be. And so part 2, I've actually got a list here. We just have almost 20 things, maybe just a little bit less, and they're really basic. They're very, very elementary. We don't have all the answers. We've made mistakes with these things. We've evolved. We've learned. Our philosophy is if just running through these things very quickly, it makes one little light bulb go off for somebody, help someone else, whatever it may be, just to really get it started. And we're going to call, Nick, thank you, as our intern filming this, we're going to call this part 2, Tactical Housekeeping. Okay, so you're jumping off the cliff in your 40s, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of anxiety. What are just some of the housekeeping things that you really need to get in order prior to you turning in your resignation, after you set that date on when you're going to cut the cord and be, frankly, happier than you've ever been in your life, more fulfilled. You're going to be working harder than you've ever worked in your life, and it's really going to be the next chapter in your journey. But hey, let's just jump straight into it. And forgive me, I've got to look down the screen because it's quite a few things. Now, a lot of this is pursuant to whether you are bootstrapping the company or whether you have a capital infusion, whatever that infusion may be. So all of these are variables, but again, just wanted to run down really in no particular order this list. Your bankers, and we're going to throw some names out here. We at AST E-Commerce, we have 3 banking relationships. They're very acute partnerships: Iberia Bank, Red River Bank, and Citizens Bank. They've been tremendous partners to us. You have got to have a strong banker. You need to solidify that up front. You don't need one banking relationship. You need an absolute minimum of 2 banking relationships. We're confident with that fact. CPA. Our CPA is our outsourced CFO. His name is Gus Levy with the Levy Group. He's tremendous, been doing it for a long time. And really, Gus markets himself beyond just a CPA, really a small business financial advisor. And we spend a lot of time with Gus. I do specifically. We met with Gus prior to going formal or going live, if you will, and he's still with us today. We're 4 years in a couple of weeks, and he lets us sleep at night. He's just tremendous. So a kick-ass CPA, we cannot put enough value on that. What do we have next here? Credit cards. Believe it or not, they're important. You need to have a lot of diversification with your credit cards. We love Amex. We love to play the reward point game. We have a long history with Amex personally, before we jumped off the cliff in our 40s with AST E-Commerce. But there's so many options out there. But really get that foundation set on your credit cards. We've talked about this. We have a board of directors. We market them effectively or aggressively, I should say. And it's really a group of advisors. And we've talked about this a lot. We have, I'm looking at them on this wall behind us in our conference room. We have 12 members of our board of directors. They were very strategically approached relative to their sales acumen, financial acumen, legal acumen, talent acumen, M&A, merger and acquisition acumen, you name it, down the list. Their network. We have several that are from out of town. They all had some understanding of what we were doing at AST E-Commerce, and they have been an absolute backbone for us. If you can put together a group of advisors or board of directors, our advice would be somewhere from 6 to 12 individuals as mentors and a backbone for you. I think it would be one of the greatest strategic moves that you can make. It's fascinating when you ask people to give back and the point of fulfillment that they have on really supporting specifically something that's entrepreneurial. It's pretty amazing. So a group of advisors or board of directors, we're big on that. So, and that takes a long time to put together. That's not just a couple of phone calls you make. So wanted to point out operating systems, we've really been pleased with QuickBooks. The word on the street, this is of course no new news, is utterly elementary, is that when you reach the $5 million mark, you somewhat outgrow QuickBooks, but from a financial operating system perspective, QuickBooks has been very affordable, it's been very user-friendly for our team. So legal advice. We're very fortunate at AST E-Commerce. My father, Carey Guglielmo Sr., he is our free attorney, and he's been tremendous to us. Because of what's happened, actually, we've retained a second attorney, Bob Barton, with Taylor Porter, who's incredible, that we would say is involved in some more specific business law, but having that attorney that you trust and developing that relationship very early on. If you have aggressive plans, boy, that's an important one. Insurance ramifications. It's amazing what we pay on a monthly basis for insurance. When I was at Nike, I never used it. It was a total afterthought. Never gave it 2 seconds of my time. But boy, I do now. There's so many different forms of insurance that are applicable depending upon what space you're in. Bloomberg and Associates, Andy Bloomberg here in South Louisiana. If you're a local company, boy, do they get it, and do they do a great job. Commercial real estate. Hey, you know what? We're actually about to extend some space to a business friend of ours because they're jumping off the cliff. They need it. We've got the space. We're willing to do that. So I would challenge you, go to a friend who's got some extra business space. Say, hey, can I borrow an office for 60 days, 90 days? It's not about glomming off of somebody. It's just about taking advantage of those additional resources. But there's so many great commercial real estates around. We're in our third space in a little bit less than 4 months, and develop those commercial real estate agent partnerships early on. Intern program, I'm sitting here with two of them, Laney Edelman and Nick Hollingsworth. We are to the moon with our intern program. We use the LSU Olin Career Center as a resource. We also use the LSU Sports Marketing Kinesiology program with Dee Jacobson as a resource. The Olin, it's developed into the Handshake program, guys, is that right? Yeah, it's developed into the Handshake program, and boy, is it sophisticated with what they do online with getting young people in front of you. It's always a two-way street. We currently have 4 interns here at AST Commerce. Nick, you've been our latest intern addition. Nick is our 17th intern that's been at AST Commerce in a little less than 17 months, and it's been so fulfilling for us. We feel it's been great for the interns. We've helped with their career path. We have a couple of folks who've come on full-time with us. So if you can develop an intern program, maybe not even paid up front, but then you move into a modest conservative payment model with your interns, whether it's social media or bookkeeping or what have you, boy, it can be effective. So moving along here and go back a little bit to the accounting side, we're going to talk about bookkeeping. I tell you what, and I did not know this, but labor in India as it relates to just basic elementary black and white bookkeeping, reconciliations, et cetera, with the labor in India, and doing that virtually, it'd be no different than having a virtual assistant, is pretty incredible. So you can just do some Googling and get you down that path real quick if that's something that you want to investigate. Your website. There's so many firms that do that. You can go to the Squarespace route, which is extremely inexpensive depending upon what you're doing, how big your team is, how big your industry and your overall model and organization is. There's so many good ad groups. It's gotten so competitive that our view is we've redone our website 4 times now, which possibly is excessive. However, we felt in our industry and what we're trying to accomplish that it was important. But depending upon where you are with your initiatives, there's a lot of competitive pricing out there, a lot of competitive services. So really just do some Googling, and I think you'd be amazed at all the and a lot of virtual services out there. They don't have to be local where you're located. So your go-to-market campaign, that's something we find rather elementary, but there's a lot to it. And we feel that it's important to get those things in place, again, prior to formally jumping off the cliff. There's a lot of different ways to do that. We started out doing it ourselves. It was really me. We moved to an ad agency of record for a year, Zender Communications. We've now taken that business in-house, and all 3 have worked. And there's a lot of great agencies out there, but go-to-market, this may not be accurate, surely not accurate for everyone. We may be off base here, but we think this works for us. What I'm about to throw out. Facebook's critical. LinkedIn from a B2B perspective is critical. then we would say that we really like Twitter and Instagram. Not as important as Facebook and LinkedIn, but those are important. We love SoundCloud as a vendor if you want to start off a podcast. We love YouTube. YouTube's free. Okay, and many, if not all, of these platforms outside of LinkedIn are free. Back to the LinkedIn front. If you're going to get on, actually not, if you're going to get on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a must. If you don't already participate, pay the extra $20 a month and get the premium level package. Again, the premium level package, there's no question that it's worth it. We have a text platform. Guys, what vendor do we use on our text platform? Do you recall, Nick?
Easy Text.
Easy Text. $20 a month. We send out, not a lot, we send out occasional text messages to our clients, our vendors, supply chain, our friends of the company, updating them on things or just giving them a notice on something that's upcoming. That's something that's very easy, seems to be a little different. Again, nothing overly sophisticated. What am I missing, guys? Anything else on the go-to-market front?
Sounds good.
Skillshare. Skillshare is an unbelievable $9.99 a month. It's an online learning development program. It's global. They're based out of Manhattan. Go on Skillshare and just watch some 3-4 minute videos on all types of disciplines: marketing, sales, building your brand, graphic design, legal services with becoming an entrepreneur. I mean, really a lot of these things we're talking about. And again, Skillshare, it's one word, based on New York City, incredible asset there. So let's see, your vendors and your supply chain. We have a lot of vendors. We have a very broad supply chain. We deal with vendors all across the globe. And so it was critically important for us. You may or may not fit into that, but developing those partnerships with specifically your top vendors, your top partners, we don't even like that word vendor, really, really important to get out of the gates strong with that. Payroll, it's important. It may seem kind of out of sight, out of mind. Boy, we love the group net checks. They're based on the North Shore, just north of New Orleans. They are throughout, they may even be global. I should know that, actually. I know that they're throughout North America. Will Boudreaux, Stewart Etheridge's firm, they've been tremendous to us. They have a great group now. They do payroll services for companies of all sizes. They really do. 6-person operation to thousands of employees. They've got it all for you. So we love that group. And of course, there's many others. Your industry association, whatever industry that may be, it's important out of the gates to get involved in that. We're in the merchandise space, which is rather broad, so we've had to pick a few what I'm going to call acute associations within that broad space and really get involved. And frankly, my partner and I, we did this quietly, but we actually got involved in those associations, did our due diligence before we jumped off the cliff formally. And because you'll kind of, we would think you would kind of do this, or maybe I should say this, with your industry association, your involvement, the cost, how much you travel, and we've done that. But either way, to be additive and to participate at some level, we feel is important. And the last two are the two hardest things to do, and they're very broad. Wanted to end with this though, and we may have part 3 or part 4 have to do with this specifically, but that is your team. Building your team is going to be, if it's not the toughest, it's going to be right way up there at the top. With it's just difficult. It's very, very, very difficult, and always has been. So that's a big animal, a big item to chew on, but we wanted to mention it. You cannot start thinking about your team, not just your partner, or if you're solo, not just your national sales director, your HR director, your finance director, your customer service people, your warehouse operations folks, whomever it may be, whatever your model is. Boy, to put that on paper and constantly be evolving that, it's just really nonstop. And then the last one, which is your clients, your sales process, or your BD funnel, your business development funnel, and that means a whole lot of different things. We feel that those are the two toughest things to do in business, is to sell, service your clients, because it's very extensive, it's very demanding, and then building your team. If you can do those two things, then you're going to be wildly successful. But we wanted to run through that with our experience. We maybe, if it saves somebody a week, 2 weeks, a month, connected to this identifying a date when you're truly going to jump off the cliff in your 40s. And then we're going to talk about a few different things in part 3 and part 4 of the series. But really, that's it. Talked fast on this one, but it was a long list of items. We wanted to run through them. Didn't get into hardly any detail at all. And we sure thank you for being with us. And we'll look forward to part 3 of Jumping Off the Cliff in your 40s.